So right now I want to bring in John Manuelian. He is a criminal defense attorney. He's joining us now from our LA bureau. John, good morning, first of all. And you heard Steve's report. Listen, the medical experts saying, hey, it's going to be really difficult to prove that a woman of her size could have been able, to kill herself, frankly, when the shot seemed to have been fired from 18 inches away. So how do you defend Mr. Bob Ward in this case?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, the chief medical examiner, Jan Garibaldi, said that there was an 18-inch distance at the time of the shooting. So you've got to dispute that. One of the ways you could do that is by putting your client on a stand, but considering that Bob Ward may be a loose cannon, you might want to reconsider that. So you could either put Bob Ward on the stand, or you could get an expert to come to the stand on your behalf, a defense expert, to say, no, it could have been a closer range, and dispute what their expert, Jan Garibaldi, said.
Yeah, but how do you dispute that when the medical examiner is saying, and you have so much forensic material to prove that perhaps it wasn't closer as you're trying to imply?
Well, you could do it one of several ways. The first thing you could do is, if there's gunshot residue was the issue in this case, you could mention that there wasn't a lot of gunshot residue on Mr. Ward at the time of this incident, that he was distanced a little further than what Jan Garibaldi said. You could always put Bob Ward on the stand and have Bob Ward tell the jury exactly what happened, and if they believe Bob Ward's testimony, then that may discredit or may take away from Jan Garibaldi's testimony. So you could do it one of those two ways, or you can make an argument to the jury at the end of the closing, at the point when there's a closing argument. His defense attorneys could make the argument that it could have been done in several different ways and discredit what Jan Garibaldi said. But I think the best way to do this, if I were to do it, is put Bob Ward on the stand. If you put Bob Ward on the stand, absolutely, because if they believe Bob Ward, then it's over. Game over. I mean, that's the bottom line.
But why would they believe
Bob
Ward?
If they don't believe him, then...
Yeah, John, why would they believe him if he's already called 911, said, I shot my wife, and now he's saying, no, my wife was depressed, she was drinking too much red wine, she killed herself?
You know, that's a very good question, and I'll add to that. He not only said that he shot his wife, then he said it was an accident.
Yeah, he did.
After he was asked, and then after he said it was an accident, he told the bankruptcy attorney that he killed herself. So, you know, you have this evolution going on that needs to be explained, but that could be easily explained. That Bob Ward could explain that he was shocked that he didn't have the right words to say at the time. I mean, it's not simple to speak to somebody after somebody's been accidentally shot, especially if it's your wife. He was confused. He was discombobulated.
Yeah, how are you that confused whether or not you shot your wife or not? He said, I shot my wife.
Well, he said he shot his wife. He said he shot his wife. But he said it was an accident. So apparently his wife was despondent. And if you listen to the testimony of Bob Ward's daughter, she offered the evidence that, you know, her mom was sometimes a despondent person, that she drank. She testified that she threw a piece of luggage at her daughter at one point in time.
Right.
So you show that there's a possibility that this lady could have committed suicide. There was some sort of struggle going on between Bob Ward and his wife. The shot goes off, and he's devastated. And yes, he didn't have the exact words, but what words would you choose if that happened to you, or what words would I choose if it happened to me? We can't sit here and judge what a man would say after an incident like that. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback after it's done, but it's not unreasonable for him to say I shot her and then say it was an accident. It's not out of the ballpark. It's not completely out there. And remember one other thing: the law says this man is presumed innocent. If there's two pieces of evidence and one points towards the guilt and the other one points towards innocence, they have to go with the evidence that points towards innocence. So if Bob Ward gives something credible, something that the jury could swallow, that may be enough to sustain an acquittal in the case.
So what do you think is the likelihood that we're going to see Mr. Ward on the stand?
That's a hard question. That's an inside question, and what I mean by inside is only the lawyer that grilled him, that cross-examined him, that prepped him would know the answer to that. But I'll tell you, based on his background, the fact that he was a businessman, is a millionaire, is an entrepreneur, he seems pretty articulate. If you watch the jailhouse videos, he seems very relaxed. I don't think he'll be stressed when he takes that stand. The issue is whether he'll be a loose cannon. Is there something that Bob Ward can say that'll further harm his case?
Yeah.
That I don't know, but Yeah.
And John, I have to go, but speaking of that jailhouse video, I mean, he seems to be really relaxed and almost celebratory, and so that's going to, I would imagine, play against him. Like, so first of all, you were shocked that your wife accidentally got shot, and now you're partying in the jail, the holding cell. Really?
But I don't know, and you could correct me on this, Arthur. I don't know if they submitted that to the video as evidence. I would be surprised if they did, because that has nothing to do with whether or not at the time of this incident there was an accidental shooting or premeditated shooting. His behaviors after would be completely prejudicial. So if the judge did allow that evidence in, that's going to be on appeal. But I highly doubt the jury saw that. However, if the jury saw it on the news, then yes, obviously they're going to think that's really strange. And if you think about it, the daughter's even more strange. She's sitting there dancing and making faces to her father. It's a really weird family, but hopefully they won't take that into account.
John, we'll be watching the case. I know you'll be watching it. Everybody's fascinated by it. It's unfortunate that a woman, is gone, but definitely bring us the details. We'll see you again. Total non sequitur. It has nothing to do with this, what we're talking about. So just let me say you got one of the best goatees that I've seen. All right, so there you go. Take it and run with it. Okay, John, thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't help noticing it. What can I say? All right, so let's get back to